Happy Sunday to you. Boy, do we have a lot to get to today. Oh, my goodness. You know, here's the thing. Us Lions fans have been through a lot. We've been through a lot of years of, it just seems that we've lost every way that you could possibly lose. And just as you think there is no other way that this team could lose, boom, here you go. Baltimore Ravens, Justin Tucker, NFL history books on the platter. This is how you lose a different way. And so, unfortunately for the Lions, they remain winless on the year, but there were some good things that they at least can take out of this game. So that we're going to talk about that. But then there are some things that when people say SOL, the same old Lions thing, I don't believe in that. But there are some things here, some tendencies that have continued to linger, and we'll talk about it. And this is something that it kind of is something that you can look over many different sports and say the same kind of thing. Like in basketball, college basketball especially, you don't make your free throws, you're going to lose the game, especially in the tourney. You got to make your free throws. You want to win the basketball game, make your free throws. In the NFL, the golden rule is field goals will get you beat. Field goals will get you beat. And once again, the Lions today couldn't punch it in deep in Ravens territory late in the fourth quarter, couldn't get it done. They settled for a field goal. And at the end, that's what gives the Ravens the opportunity to come back and kick a game-winning field goal. So we'll talk about it. Obviously, there's a lot to delve into there, so we'll get into it. Also, we weren't able to be with you yesterday, unfortunately, because of Michigan State. We had a nighttime Michigan State broadcast here on WJR, so our pregame started and right in our time slot, which is obviously no problem. Spartans able to get the dub. Michigan's able to get the dub. We weren't able to talk college football yesterday, so we'll do that again today. Because Michigan and Michigan State both win, both moving up the AP rankings. And again, I don't want to be kind of the bearer of bad news here. I've been telling you for a couple of weeks with both of these teams, there are characteristics of both of these teams that I'm not particularly fond of, or I don't really know much about yet. We got a little bit more clarity this weekend. And again, it doesn't feel like a good thing going forward. So we'll talk about that as well. Also, one of my favorite weekends of the year. Not only because we're in the NFL season, but also because we've got the Ryder Cup going on. I am a big Ryder Cup guy. So we're going to talk about that as well, because believe me, you want to see fun, competitive, you kind of almost hyper competitive golf. The Ryder Cup's the way to go. So we're going to talk about that too, because I quite frankly, I love the Ryder Cup. So we're going to talk about it because I think it's one of the great traditions in sports. So we'll talk about that. Also, again, Lions, Michigan State. We got a lot to cover today. So stay with us. We'll be with you in just a moment.
False claims. Sue Guzman, Fox News.
The NASCAR Cup Series playoffs continue tonight with a round of 12. Fox's Matt Napolitano reports.
With just a dozen drivers still standing, the Cup Series pulls into Las Vegas Motor Speedway today for the South Point 400. Brad Keselowski among the round of 12 pack, hoping that his past success in Sin City with 3 career victories comes to his benefit today.
Seem to be able to get it done there, so hoping for big things. Obviously, we need a strong performance for this round, and the race is in it. This is a tough round.
Keselowski starting in 8th this afternoon in the South Point 400. Kyle Larson, fresh off his 6th victory of the Cup season at Bristol last weekend, will be the pole sitter. Winner advances to the round of 8 as the green flag waves in Vegas at 7 p.m. Eastern. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
And I'm Joe Chiro, Fox
News. WJR traffic and weather first.
I-275 southbound between 7 Mile Road and M14. Only the left lane blocked due to construction. The weekend work has cleared. Traffic slowing M14 eastbound between Maple Road and US 23. I'm Peggy Hodge, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Seeing mostly sunny skies here as we run it up to the low 70s. Tonight, those early clouds clear out late. Overnight low to around 60. And then tomorrow, sunshine, clouds mixing. Afternoon high gets up into the upper 70s. From the Weather Channel, I'm Jeff Eno on News Talk 760 WJR.
The forgotten poor in need of healing wait for mercy ships. A floating hospital staffed by volunteers, heroes of mercy who donate their time to save lives. To learn more about Heroes of Mercy, go to mercyships.org.
Detroit's News Talk 760 WJR. It's time for Sports Wrap on 760 WJR.
All right, this is the wrap on 760 WJR.
To a car phone we go. Dave, thanks for hanging on. You're on 760.
Gentlemen, and Steve and Dan, you got the chemistry. It's cooking.
Presented by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sports app today. FanDuel, more ways to win.
Are you calling us from your office?
I'm doing SportsCenter tonight with
Are you really?
Dan Patrick.
Yes. I'm very impressed. By the way, give Dan our best. He's a good man. And
I will. Hey, Dan, Chuck Swirsky says hi. This is the best sports wrap has ever been, in my opinion.
Now, here's your host, Chris Renwick.
If you had a historical kick on your bingo squares for the 2021 football season for your Detroit Lions, you can officially mark that off. Wow. I mean, here's the thing. Us Lions fans, we've been through a lot. We've seen a lot. We've gone through quite a bit. And it feels after all of these years of not making, and not winning a playoff game, not playing meaningful football down the stretch, all of these years of that, it feels like we're pretty seasoned. We're like a cast iron skillet. We're pretty seasoned. We've seen a lot of stuff. We've experienced a lot. And we've seen, I don't know, I would have told you before today, almost countless ways to lose. I feel like we've covered the whole gamut. Well, Justin Tucker's here to say, I could probably find one more way to do it. 66 yards off the crossbar, badonk-a-donk, through the uprights, game over. Now, this was a tale of two halves for this team. All right. The first half, this team was anemic. They were, defensively, I thought they played decently. They were fortunate on a couple of big-time drop passes by the Baltimore Ravens. I think that halftime score could have been inflated at least by a touchdown. And unfortunately, the offense was just nowhere to be found in that first half. They were nowhere. But you go down halftime 10-0. You feel at least like, okay, we've at least got a shot. We're not out of this one. Lamar Jackson hasn't completely roasted us to oblivion here. We're in this game. So the Lions go ahead and score 17 points in the second half. They go down the field late in the fourth quarter. And Detroit kicks a 35-yard field goal. And here's the problem. And I think that they, from a clock management standpoint, did this the right way. They didn't want to throw the football, right? Because heaven forbid you don't catch it, clock stops, Baltimore able to save a timeout. Baltimore had 2 timeouts at this point in this drive. Detroit started with the ball at their own 21. And so they drive the field, heavy on DeAndre Swift. They get him down inside the red zone to the Baltimore 13. They lose a yard back to the 17. Timeout Detroit. Santos 35-yarder. Good. They go up 17-16. And at this point, you're thinking, all right, Lions going to win this thing. They're going to get their first dub on the year. They'll go 1-2 on the season, and away we go. Unfortunately for Detroit, that wasn't the case. And 7 plays later, Lamar Jackson deep to Sammy Watkins, and that went for 36 yards, put him in Detroit territory at the 48. Lamar Jackson, 66 yards across the crossbar, bouncing up through the uprights and in. NFL record holder now, Justin Tucker, with a 66-yard field goal, and the Lions lose. They're winless.
Hey, Chris, did you see the graphic they put up before the kick where he had hit
about touchdowns in the red zone?
The Tucker had hit 49 field goals.
Yes.
In the fourth quarter dating back to 2016, and I said, wow, he ain't going to get to 50. I was wrong.
I mean, here's the thing. I think that last offensive possession for Detroit is what killed them. I feel the same way as I do about basketball, especially in college basketball, especially in the tourney. You got to make free throws. If you don't make your free throws, you get beat. Ty, you get beat in college basketball in the tourney. In the NFL, field goals get you beat. Field goals will get you beat. And in this case here, instead of the Lions going up by 1, they could have been up by 6. Could have forced Baltimore to find the end zone instead of just scrambling for the outer echelons of where Justin Tucker's leg could put this thing. So unfortunately, you get to the red zone again, you come up empty, you don't get into the end zone, you got to settle for a field goal, and this is what can happen. 66 yards, it ain't ever happened before. So, I don't want to oversell this too hard. But you don't want to give, you want to present the hardest road possible for, in this case, the Ravens to go ahead and beat you. And that would have been to get him in the end zone. And unfortunately for Detroit, they had to settle for a field goal. I think, to me, I know there was a lot of talk about in that last drive for Baltimore on that last play, the play clock had expired. They should have blown a delay of game there. The referees didn't. They missed it. And I understand that, and I understand the frustration of that because that was a missed call. But at the same time, you shouldn't have even really been in that situation. If you would have scored a touchdown, you'd have been in a much better spot. But unfortunately, and I'm somebody of the belief is get yourself in the opportunity to win the game. The Lions they had the opportunity to win the game. I try not to play the referee card unless it's really egregious, which I know some of you are out there saying, yeah, this was pretty egregious. But I just feel like at the end of the day, they had the lead. They had the opportunity to win the game. Defensively, they probably, I'm not a huge prevent guy. I don't love to go into a prevent. But Lamar Jackson made a play, just floated into a soft spot in the defensive zone, and away we go. Look, if you want to weigh in on this, love to hear from you. 800-859-0957, 800-859-0WJR. That's the number for you to call. We'll take your text too at that same number. But unfortunately, it was a tough loss for the Lions today. We've all felt it. It took me several minutes to pick my jaw up off the floor. Jason, I don't know what your thoughts were on it, but it was, I'm thinking 66 yards. Geez, that's a kick. That's a big time kick.
They show the camera view from, they face the kicker, and it bounced, and it looked like it bounced back onto the field to play.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, I go and then, they showed it from the other side, and I go, I just said, you've got to be kidding me. And you just feel for Dan Campbell. You're thinking the guy's got his first win. It's a huge, they're a huge underdog, but
yep. Ugh. Yeah, and I'll tell you, I know the exact, because you're looking at it from the camera is basically from the stand side of the field, looking through the uprights, right? So you're getting kind of you're getting the Lions' perspective. The Lions are on defense, so Justin Tucker's kicking it at the camera, and so when it took that hop up off the crossbar, I was kind of waiting to see not only the reaction of the folks of the people at Ford Field, but I wanted to see where, there's a protective netting back there. So I wanted to see if it was going to hit the netting or if it was going to bounce off the field. I was looking for some other indication for what the ball was doing in that moment, because it was, based on the angle that we're looking at it on TV, it's hard to tell. And so as soon as I saw the ripple of the net, I had Jason, I'm not kidding. I said the same thing. You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, because the ball didn't hit the crossbar and just hit back away. It bounced up.
It bounced
Which
up.
Normally at that distance, it's just going to clang off of it and climb off the front and not be good. But when they showed the replay, I did notice some of the fans' reaction, and there was a guy, and he threw his arms up in the air, and he was all happy, and then he kind of did the two hands up in the air onto his head.
Yep.
Absolutely. That sums it up.
Absolutely crazy. All right, we'll talk more Lions on the other side of the break. Also, unfortunately, we weren't able to be with you yesterday because our Michigan State pregame here on WJR, which, of course, always well done by Steve Courtney and company. But we got to talk a little Michigan State. We'll do that coming up as well, because I don't want to be the I told you so guy. I don't want to be that person, but I kind of told you so. We'll talk about that coming up right here on Sports Wrap. Chris Renwick as we continue here this evening on WJR. Don't go anywhere.
Reading is fundamental. The nation's largest children's literacy organization invites you to rally our children to read. Visit rallytoread.org and help your child pledge to read 100 books by Read Across America Day in March 2022. Also, watch well-known authors read their favorite books. Find activities to keep young readers motivated, and teachers can enter the Rally to Read sweepstakes for a chance to win 100 books for their own school, subject to rules. Inspire your child to read. Visit rallytoread.org today.
It's been a great week 3 of NFL action. There's no doubt about it, but we got a big game tonight. I'm talking a big game. NFC East divisional matchup, Philly, Dallas. And FanDuel somehow about to make this thing even bigger because they're giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win, which means you end your NFL week tonight, you end the right way by winning $150 on just a $5 bet. Now, look, here's the deal. I don't want Jason to get too excited about this pick, but I just think with the amount of talent that this Dallas teams have, especially on offense, I mean, you're talking about, the CD Lambs, certainly Pollard has come on and been a really nice running back for that team. And, Amari Cooper, Nebraska, but the whole thing, they've got just a ton of talent on that offensive side of the ball. So I'm going to go with the Stars here. But you can certainly bet on the same game parlay. You can, a lot of options there, money line spread. It's all there for you. Everything is easy to use. It's safe and secure. And quite frankly, it's why I use FanDuel Sportsbook, because it's safe and secure. I know that when I got my cash lying in that virtual account on my app, I know it's safe. And I'll tell you what, FanDuel, everything they do is gearing towards making this easier for you. And when you win, you get paid in as little as 24 hours. So see for yourself why FanDuel Sportsbook is America's #1 sportsbook. Sign up using my promo code Renwick, that's RENWICK, before Dallas takes on Philly. You still got a couple of hours. You could win $150 on a $5 bet. Remember, use promo code Renwick so they know I sent you exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app.
21 and older and present in Michigan. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Maximum bonus $150. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help. Tune in at 3 p.m. every Saturday for the Veterans Perspective with host MVAA Director Zenata Adams. Presented by the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. Veterans Perspective, Saturdays at 3 on News Talk 760 WJR.
Hey gang, Jim Harper here, back on the radio here on WJR. And another cool thing for us is working with a lot of our business partners like Gordon Chevrolet. They've been a friend to all of us for years. And in addition to always getting you the best deals, they have a real passion for helping the community. And I know you do too. So here's how you can help. Time is running out, but now through September 30th, Gordon Chevrolet in Garden City is hosting Hauling for Heroes, where they collect items for hospitalized veterans, things like toiletries, deodorant, sweatshirts, even reading glasses. Our brave vets need our help. So drop off some items at Gordon Chevrolet on Ford Road west of Merriman in Garden City, or call them at 734-427-6200. Gordon Chevrolet on Ford Road just west of Merriman in Garden City, where they know we always go further when we go together. Gordon Chevrolet, find new roads.
Hi, break time?
I know you.
I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. It seems like you take care of yourself.
I do. I play tennis. I try to eat well.
What about screening for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. Colon cancer is more treatable when it's caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and is used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit requestcologuard.com.
I'm on it.
Excellent.
Now back to more Sports Wrap. Presented by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sports app today. FanDuel, more ways to win. Here's Chris Renwick.
I will tell you, too, specifically along the defensive line, late in that game, thought they played really well, especially in that last drive. They weren't giving Lamar Jackson a comfortable pocket to throw from. Had a couple of sacks. It was kind of an impressive job from that front and those pass rushers. So you just got to put it together. I mean, you got to put a 60-minute game together. You got to put all four quarters together. You can't take off the first half of the game. And I'm sure that's a message that Dan Campbell will be relaying. But you gotta find a way to play an entire football game, because that really was a tale of two halves. All right, so because of our Michigan State pregame last night, we weren't able to be with you. Michigan played at 3:30 versus Rutgers. Michigan State, 7 o'clock at home against Nebraska. Now, let's get this right off the top, all right? Because I don't want to make this of like a who played a harder team. It's not that, all right? Under Greg Schiano, Rutgers is a much improved football team. They are a different football team. They're a different program. All right. This is a program now that they're not going to win yet. They're not going to win a ton of games, but they will not be an easy out anymore. Or at least right now, because they're going to get better under Greg Schiano. So, all right. So understand that Rutgers is not a good program. They're not there yet. But they're not the worst. All right. They're not what they were 3 years ago. Now, same for Nebraska. Nebraska's been down the last couple of years. Scott Frost has done, quite frankly, a terrible job at his alma mater. He just has not met expectations. What does that sound like? Does that sound like somebody in the state? Hasn't met expectations at his alma mater. Coming from UCF, where they were really, he had them rolling. That's a different product in the Big Ten, which is obviously something he's learned. Now, Nebraska had a really rough start to the beginning of the year, but they made up for it last week, almost beat Oklahoma on the road, and then they go to Michigan State. So Nebraska, as bad as they've been maybe the last couple of seasons, maybe early on this year, getting beat by Illinois was rough to start the year. They're an improved football team. They will not be an easy out. They will not be your doormat. Nebraska's a pretty decent, middle-of-the-road Big Ten football team. I actually find Nebraska and Rutgers relatively comparable. Now, here's the deal. I've been telling you I had a lot of questions about these two teams through the first three games of the year. With Michigan, the Ronnie Bell injury, who's stepping up, right? And we've seen Henning, we've seen Johnson, we've seen some of these guys step up. But they're not the same level of production as Ronnie Bell. In terms of the running game's been pretty good. Blake Corum's been your all-time, he's number 1 in the country in all-purpose yards. That's nice. Against, relatively inferior talent. Well, that got kind of stymied a little bit. They didn't have as much success on the ground. And then certainly throwing the ball, Cade McNamara didn't look great. He said it after the game, I got to do a better job at throwing the football. I got to do a better job at putting our team in better positions to score points. I mean, at times, he looked anemic on offense. So, Michigan has issues. Defensively, they answered the bell a little bit, especially in that second half. Because Rutgers was trying to make a push, and defensively, Michigan kind of stepped up. So, the Wolverines escape with the win. They move up to number 14 in the AP rankings. They're 4-0. Now, for Michigan State. Jason, how much time do I have here? Do I have a couple of minutes? All right, let me get
you got about 5 minutes.
Michigan State. Michigan State is in a very similar situation as Michigan. All right. Man, I'm gonna take this up just a little bit because to me, Michigan State has looked a better all around than what Michigan has looked like. I feel like we're at least getting to see a little more of Michigan State. I think Michigan has opened up the playbook yet. I think they're still keeping a lot of things under wraps. Michigan State don't feel that way. I feel like we're seeing a lot. We're seeing, flea flickers and, a bunch of crazy things like that. I feel like they're showing us the hand. For Michigan State, I feel like last night was a bit of a step back. I feel like Thorne, there were some issues there. He got hit in the head. I don't know if he was concussed. I don't know. He just, after that hit where they were looking at targeting early in that game, he didn't look real right after that. So I don't know if Peyton Thorne was hurt. I don't know if he was seeing stars. I don't know what it was. That's just speculation by me. But he didn't look real crisp after that hit. Offensively, in that second half, that was, yikes, not good, to say the least. And I know that the Spartans want to, and Mel Tucker wants to have the woodshed at Michigan State. He ain't there yet. I can tell you that. Still got some ways to go on that front. But offensively, they had some issues. Defensively, they stepped up. And Adrian Martinez was doing his best he could do to get that thing going. And it took a punt return. That's something they haven't done in a decade at Michigan State. Returned a punt for a touchdown, which sent that thing to overtime. It took that to send it to overtime. And then you get to overtime, you intercept Adrian Martinez, you almost return it for a touchdown, but then you go ahead and kick the field goal and win the game. If I'm a Spartan, you got to be careful. All right. I told you last week you should feel good about this team after Miami. You should feel you still should. But, this is one of the ebbs and flows of the season where that was a bit of a struggle in that second half. And while Michigan State's the defense stepped up, they were relatively fortunate to come out of Spartan Stadium with a W. So Michigan State also moving up in the rankings. They sit at number 17. So, again, you talk about Reed. You talk about, heck, even Kenny Walker. He got kind of shut down last night. He had that almost 25-yard run for a touchdown in overtime, but that was really it for Kenny Walker. I think once you get into some of these better teams, they're going to be able to nullify Kenny Walker. So in terms of what's on the docket here for these two teams, Michigan State's got a Western Kentucky team that's going to throw the football. They throw the football a lot. They'll spread you out, and they're going to try to rack up, 550 yards through the air. That's their game. So Michigan State's secondary is going to be tested. See if that front can get any pressure. See if they can get any blitzes home. But that's what's on the docket for Michigan State. For Michigan, They're going on the road for the first time this year. We don't know what kind of road team this is going to be, what kind of vibe they're going to have. But now you go against a Wisconsin team that I don't even, you look at that Notre Dame game. I know things got out of hand. Notre Dame beat them by 1 million, but there was a kick return for a touchdown and 2 pick sixes. That's how Notre Dame scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. That Wisconsin defense is legit. Offensively, they're the struggle bus, all aboard the struggle bus. But defensively, they're legit. So again, I don't know that I'm feeling very comfortable about either of these teams right now. I think Michigan State will win next week, but it could be a shootout. And for Michigan, Madison's a tough place to play. Jump around, one of the best traditions in college basketball or college football in my mind. Tough place to play. Raucous crowd, it's loud, hostile environment. So it's gonna be a tough week for both these schools. So obviously something we'll keep an eye on. All right, coming up on the other side, we'll do a little. How about we do a little Tiger talk on the other side? We'll update you on some of the scores going around in the NFL. A lot to do. And then the Ryder Cup. Oh my goodness, the Ryder Cup. I love me some Ryder Cup. We're going to talk Ryder Cup also as we continue to roll on here on WJR Sports Wrap. Chris Renwick, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a moment.
Hungry Howie's wants to thank you for supporting Love, Hope, and Pizza. Thank you to the How Long Can I Stay on This Couch Eating Pizza guy. And thank you, Late Night Study Group, that ordered 17 pizzas. And since Love, Hope, and Pizza is back, so are our pink boxes. For every pizza sold in October, we make a donation to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. And together, we've raised millions of dollars. So thank you for all the love, hope, and pizza. Hungry Howie's.
The pandemic's reminded us we live in a sea of airborne germs that can assault us with every breath. Your nose is the body's first line of defense by helping filter out allergens, bacteria, and viruses before they reach your lungs. But like any air filter, the more clogged up it gets, the less it works. So how do you clean your nose? I'm Martin Hoke, and I didn't invent nasal irrigation. The neti pot's been around thousands of years. But I did invent Navage to make cleaning your nose easy. Navage uses powered suction to flush out mucus and germs that cause congestion, or worse, can make you sick. Over 2 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage has over 70,000 online reviews averaging 4.7 stars because it works and it's easy to use. Go to Navage.com or find Navage at Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Now available with eucalyptus for a spa-like experience. Navage. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
As seen on Fox 2 News.
Have you been told you need spine surgery or just sick of living in pain? The Disc Institute has a proven, painless alternative. If your neck, back, or sciatic pain is due to a herniated, degenerative, or bulging disc, then you actually have 2 problems. 1, your pain, and 2, your bad disc. Drugs, therapies, epidurals, and new pain lasers are designed to only treat your pain, but they're not designed to treat your disc problem. And this is crucial because your bad disc is what's causing your pain in the first place. Without addressing your disc problem, your problem will get worse, which can ultimately lead to surgery. At the Disc Institute, we have a proven solution to solve both of your problems, your pain and the bad disc that's causing it, with our high-tech, non-invasive treatments. This is what can stop your pain without surgery. Call me at the Disc Institute at 586-416-DISC. That's 586-416-3472. We'll even review your MRI for no charge. Call 586-416-DISC. Reclaim your life.
If you dream of a world without Alzheimer's and all other dementia, the Alzheimer's Association Detroit Walk to End Alzheimer's is helping lead the way. Join us October 30th at the Detroit Zoo. When you take part in the walk, you're helping to raise funds and awareness for a breakthrough in the fight against Alzheimer's and all other dementia. Whether this is your first walk or you've done it every year, right now we need you to add your flower to the fight. Because like flowers, we aren't stopping. Join us at alz.org/walk.
Guys, Untuckit agrees it's finally time. Time to update our closets with new clothes we actually want to wear. Time to think about going back to the office or choosing a new way to work. Time to enjoy the best of fall, like long walks in the park and hot coffee on a brisk day. And that means it's time to look sharp and feel comfortable all day with Untuckit. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Discover the perfect fitting shirt today at untuckit.com. Use promo code TIME for 20% off your first purchase at untuckit.com.
Right now, people are home with their pets more often, and I think now, especially with the shedding, they're more cognizant of what's going on and that it's an actual issue, and Dynovite has helped tremendously in our house with that.
I just heard the Dynovite commercial so many times that I said, you know what, I'll give it a shot, and I ordered it and tried it, and it worked.
The Dynovite, the being at home, working with them, they all love it. Me and Chewy are together 24/7.
Within 3 weeks, he's not scratching and itching, and he's an all-around happier dog.
DINOVITE.com.
Hi, I'm Lauren. Why was it so difficult to move? Maybe my left side had just fallen asleep. I exercised, I ate healthy.
Hi, I'm Adam. At first, I was in denial. My wife, Lauren, was only 30. But I'm familiar with signs of stroke, and no, symptoms aren't always easy to recognize. I quickly realized that something was very wrong. Lauren's speech was slurred, and her face was drooping. She was having a stroke, and I had to react immediately.
I'm so thankful Adam called 911 and I quickly received the medical attention that I needed. Now I don't take anything for granted, especially the time I get to spend with my family. Going through this experience has given me a new appreciation for life.
Looking back, I'm so grateful I didn't hesitate to call 911. A quick reaction can make all the difference. Learn signs of stroke and call 911 immediately if something seems off with someone you love. Visit strokeawareness.com.
Sponsored by Genentech and NAEMT.
Now back to more Sports Wrap. Presented by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sports app today. FanDuel, more ways to win. Here's Chris Renwick.
All right, so, the Tigers have won 13 of their last 20. They only have, 7, 8 games left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games left. They go Chicago, a triple with Minnesota, and then a last part. Oh, well, they on Monday. They're home. That's their last home game. Then they're on the road. 3 in Minnesota, 3 in Chicago. But they won 13 of their last 20. This team is 75-80. They're third in the Central at points in the year, especially post All-Star break. There was discussions like, Detroit is the hottest team in baseball. The Tigers are vying for some sort of postseason spot, be it a wild card, which is where they would have ended up. But at the end, they're not going to make the postseason. I think most people knew they weren't going to make the postseason. But this team, I think, is kind of legit. They're kind of for real. And yep, they have injuries to their pitching staff, including including Boyd and a couple of other guys that they've got to get right. But now you're going to head into the offseason, and the Tigers have indicated, including Al Avila, that the rebuild is over. Now they're going to start working their way up, and they're going to start spending money. Now, I think their most glaring need is at shortstop. And, of course, now that A.J. Hinch is here, he has a lot of ties to the Houston Astros, and in particular, Carlos Correa, who's on the market and probably going to receive a sizable contract. So with shortstop being probably one of the biggest positions of need, Carlos Correa is on the table. You pull the trigger? Maybe. It's a lot of money you're going to have to spend on a shortstop for a team that's, maybe a fringe postseason, ball club next year. It's really hard to justify, in my mind, spending that kind of dough on Carlos Correa. But with that being said, they also need, a bat. I'd like to see a power hitter in this lineup. I'd like to see, a starting pitcher that has kind of been there, done that. Somebody who you can kind of count on. Somebody who you give the ball to on the bump and you're thinking, all right, I'm excited that, not only get to go see this guy, but I think he's going to pitch well. So I think this is going to be an interesting offseason for what the Tigers want to do. Are they for real? You got AJ Hinch going out there saying, look, we want free agents. If they want to be here, great. They'll come. If they don't, we'll beat them. It went viral. Everybody was talking about it. It was one of the greatest, comments on free agency in baseball. It was fantastic. I think Casey Mize had it printed on his shirt. So they want to be a winning baseball team. They want to make the playoffs. They want to contend. They want to be in the mix. So I just look at what this offseason is, where they're at. Are they really going to be players here? Are they going to be serious? Are they going to go out and get a bat? They're going to go out and get a pitcher? You want Carlos Correa here? Jason, I know you're dialed into the Tigers too. This was a hot team coming out of the All-Star break. This was a hot team in the second half of the season. Won a lot of baseball games, but they got a lot of questions going into the offseason here. I'd love to know what you want to do. What do you want to see this team do?
Well, I'd love to see Carlos Correa here because I definitely think there's a lot of guys on this team that we knew were not going to be here going forward. Mm-hmm. And AJ Hinch has just worked his magic with it because back in April, they were talking, this team could possibly vie for one of the worst losing records in baseball history. They started 8-24, and then all of a sudden they go to Boston and they compete in that series. And from, here on, they have a winning record. So I'm excited if they can bring some free agents here with this manager after what he's just done with not a lot. I mean, they're starting guys like Willie Peralta,
right?
Guys like Derek Holland, excuse me, that have been in starting rotations before that shouldn't even be in baseball now. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the prospects that are going to be coming up, in the not too distant future too. So that's exciting. But I'd love to see him add like a Carlos Correa, a guy that can definitely be a locker room leader, probably, a guy that Hinch is familiar with. And I say, yeah, let's go for it.
Well, I'm going to be interested to see what this offseason brings because truthfully, I don't know what I want. I don't know that Carlos Correa is the guy. I think that you can spend some of that money in a couple of different spots. And still get a lot of production out of not only that out of that position at that shortstop position, but I think that you can kind of stretch those dollars even a little further.
And I agree with that too, because I learned a lot in baseball this year, as many have, that starting pitching is getting so extremely valuable going forward because a lot of these guys are getting hurt. They're limiting guys. It takes a lot to get through a 162 game season. Now.
Yep. No, I to me, look, obviously your starting rotation is important, but I think even your bullpens are even more valuable now than they have been because you're right. Sure. Limiting guys, pitch counts, especially late in the season, if you're, contending for a playoff spot. Absolutely. Your bullpen is more important now maybe than ever. So again, would I love to see Carlos Correa here? Yeah, I would. I think that's kind of like a shot of adrenaline to this franchise, a shot of adrenaline to this organization and these fans that really haven't had a whole lot to cheer about, go and see up until this year. So I think I'm interested. I'm not going to knock the idea of Carlos Correa coming here. But they have a lot of needs that I think that they could address in free agency. Pair that with some young guys coming up, and then AJ Hinch and the magic that he's been able to, the wand that he's been able to wave over this organization this year. I find it incredible. I think he's the guy for the job. I think he's the guy for the long haul. And so now I want to see what this offseason's like after AJ Hinch being here and where this organization wants to go. So look, we'll see how it goes, but I'm interested. I mean, the antennas are peaked. All right, coming up on the other side, we'll do some NFL scores and we'll talk the Ryder Cup. Ryder Cup has ended, or at least all but ended. The USA ran away with it. It was quite a performance by the red, white, and blue. And Rory Mcilroy gave a almost heart-wrenching interview after his singles match today. We'll talk about that coming up as well. Chris Renwick here on SportsWrap on WJR. Don't go anywhere.
A message brought to you by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Protect yourself from the COVID variants by getting fully vaccinated. Discover the facts
Emily. Nice to
at
see you.
michigan.gov/COVID vaccine.
This is Jeff Morton, Center Director at Pain Free Life Centers in Troy. I want to talk to you about neuropathy. People with neuropathy know the struggle of living with the numbness, burning, and tingling sensation, the constant pain. When your doctor tells you there's no other choice but the drugs, he's telling you the truth because he doesn't have high-intensity, high-dose, FDA-approved lasers that can actually restore the myelin sheath without drugs, without injections, and without side effects. You don't believe me? Go to painfreelifecenters.com and watch Karen's testimonial. What you'll see is a story from 8 years ago, and she's still not taking drugs, and she's still out of pain. So whether your neuropathy is caused from diabetes, chemotherapy, surgery, immune issues, give us a call. We're so confident in what we do. Your initial consultation and first treatment are free. Pick up the phone, call Pain Free Life Centers in Troy at 248-879-1100 or visit painfreelifecenters.com. Make your neuropathy history.
This year, Axalta is spotlighting color trends in mobility with their 2021 Global Automotive Color of the Year. Here's Axalta's Global Color Manager, Nancy Lockhart. Tell us what it is.
Axalta's 2021 Global Automotive Color of the Year is Electrolyte, a refreshing green-yellow hue with bold, contemporary flavors that echo style, energy, and flair. Electrolyte is soothing and calm with opaque simplicity, yet exciting and fresh with its vibrancy. The unique personality of Electrolyte evokes a blend of sporty design elements with functional performance. Electrolyte will illuminate a path towards a green future for vehicles of all sizes, with reflective properties and powerful vehicle-to-vehicle sensing communication capabilities. Electrolyte combines a passion for individualism with coding science to show how color can be expressive and dynamic.
Visit Axalta.com/color for more information on this electric new color. Axalta Coating Systems, inventors of your favorite color.
How you doing? This is Steve Courtney inviting you to join me and Local 4's Jamie Edmonds for a little something we call the Sports Book. Monday nights from 7 to 8, presented by WinBet. You can download the WinBet app today on the Apple Store or Google Play. Win with WinBet.
The forgotten poor in need of healing wait for mercy ships, a floating hospital staffed by volunteers, heroes of mercy who donate their time to save lives. To learn more about Heroes of Mercy, go to mercyships.org.
You may come across a tick this summer, and here are some facts that you should know. There are 500,000 new cases of Lyme disease in the U.S. every year. Even if you receive a negative test, you may still have Lyme disease. Not everyone gets a rash after a tick bite, and nearly 20% of people develop chronic symptoms such as severe headache, fatigue, brain fog, and neurological problems. To learn more, visit the Global Lyme Alliance at gla.org. That's gla.org.
Now back to more Sports Wrap. Presented by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sports app today. FanDuel, more ways to win. Here's Chris Renwick.
All right, I want to get you caught up on a couple of scores around the NFL because it's a big day in the NFL, week 3. Broncos on top of the... You know how difficult it is to blank a team in the NFL? Broncos on top of the Jets, 23-0 with 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I mean, yikes. Raiders looking to go 3-0. They're on top of the Dolphins 25-17 with just under 6 to go in the fourth quarter there. And then how about this? Let's talk about this. You got the Bucs traveling across the country. They're in Southern California to take on the Rams and Matthew Stafford. Listen to these lines, all right? We're in the third quarter there. Rams on top of the Bucs, 31-17. Listen to these lines. Are these some good quarterbacks or what? Matthew Stafford, 22 for 33 for 303 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's got a passer rating of 135. Tom Brady, 28 for 38, 322. He's got a passer rating of just under 100. He hasn't thrown any touchdowns. I mean, Jason, wouldn't it be nice to get a quarterback like Matt Stafford? Wouldn't that be nice to have a guy like that in Detroit?
I tell you,
nice.
Yeah, it sure
What
would.
do we got to do to have somebody like that here? We don't ever have anybody like that here.
You got to get the number one pick. I think they had that not too long ago.
Yikes. Meanwhile, Deshaun Jackson, 3 catches for 120 yards and a score. Meanwhile, Vikings hosting the Seahawks. They're on top of Seattle 27-17, starting the fourth quarter there. Well, they're about 12 minutes left in that one. We got a couple of finals. Bills all over the Washington football team, 43-21. The Browns spoil what was really turned out to be the maiden voyage for Justin Fields. The Browns win it 26-6 at home against Chicago. We told you about the woe is me, and the Lions lost to the Ravens. They lose 19-17. Titans on top of the Colts 25-16. Chargers over the Chiefs. How about the Chiefs 1-2 to start the year? 1-1 at home. Chargers are 2-1. They beat the Chiefs 30-24 at Arrowhead. That's an impressive win with that team being led by Justin Herbert, 281 yards through the air and 4 touchdowns. The Saints beat the Patriots 28-13. The Falcons on top of the Giants, who are now winless through their first 3 games. Atlanta wins that one 17-14. The Bengals beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh 24-10. And Joe Burrow had himself a game, as did his former teammate at LSU, Jamar Chase, who had 4 catches, 65 yards, 2 touchdowns. Joe Burrow, 172 yards through the air, and 3 touchdowns. Much better line than he had last week. Cardinals on top of the Jags 31-19. And the night game tonight, the Packers and 49ers, that one kicking off at 8:20 from San Francisco. All right. It's one of my favorite times of year, quite frankly, because you're going to start getting into playoff baseball. We're getting into the last stretch of the regular season there where teams are trying to make the postseason. Great. NFL is starting. Fantastic. We're in full swing. And you've got the Ryder Cup now. And look, this was a bloodbath. Team Europe had won this event 9 of the last 12 events. Happens every 4 years. And this was a course there along the shores of Lake Michigan, Whistling Straits. That is a beauty of a course. It looks like a nightmare for somebody like me, but it looks like a fantastic course. And when you look at the job that Steve Stricker has done compiling this team, you got to tip your hat, because you had the Colin Morikawas and Patrick Cantley, who really turned it on as the week progressed. But somebody like a captain's pick in Scotty Scheffler, who one of 6 Ryder Cup newcomers for this American team, took down the number 1 player in the world, Ho Hum and John Rahm. I mean, this was and I haven't seen the final numbers, so let me find that for you. This was a complete domination from start to finish, where Team USA was, I mean, they never let go. They were on top from the get-go. They won it 19-9. And you got foursomes, you got best ball, and then at the end of the day, at the end of the tournament on Sunday, you go 1v1, point for point. It's up in the air. Anything can happen. And at one point, of all the matches that were going on, I think the Europeans were leading 1 match. I mean, it was incredible. And this is something that has turned into a rivalry. Obviously, you look at these guys, on the tour every week, and they're playing for themselves. They're playing to win a tournament. playing against everybody. Well, in this case, you're playing with a team. You're playing with Team Europe or Team USA. And this means something to these guys, especially Team Europe. They've dominated this over the last number of years. But this is the second time the U.S. has won it in the last 3 events. And this was a really runaway event for Team USA. And Rory Mcilroy did a post-match or post-round interview with the Golf Channel. And actually, he beat Xander Schauffele today. So he scored one of the only points that Team Europe was able to put on the board today. But he said, "Look, this is an important week for Team Europe. Being part of the team," he said, "I love my teammates so much, and I should have done more for them this week. I'm glad I put a point on the board for Europe today, but I just can't wait to get another shot at this." I mean, he was visibly emotional, in tears on television. Said it's by far the best experience in golf, and I hope boys and girls watching this today will aspire to play in this event or the Solheim Cup, which is the LPGA's version of the Ryder Cup. Team USA versus Team Europe. That was held at Inverness Club this year in Toledo, which is a beautiful course. Because there's nothing better part of being a team, especially with the bond that we have in Europe. No matter what happens after this, I'm proud of every one of our players this week. I'm proud of our captain, our vice captains. I just wish we could have done a little more for the team. It's been a tough week. So when you get beat the way they did, 19-9, that can be a tough pill to swallow. Got the President's Cup coming up in a couple of years. Ryder Cup comes up 4 years. It'll head back to Europe. But it's one of the great events in sports. It's certainly, in my mind, maybe outside the Masters, it's the best golf has to offer. It's competitive. It's fun. The crowds are raucous. It's just a wonderful, wonderful event. So Team USA gets it done for the second time in 3 years, but Team Europe has owned that. They've won it 9 of the last 12 events. Obviously, a very tough pill to swallow for Team Europe, but a lot of those guys we cheer for every week. Rory Mcilroy is a heck of a player, and so it's an interesting vibe that they've created, and it's a good one. All right, that's going to do it for us today. We will see you again here, same time next week, Saturday night, 6 to 7, right here on WJR. Have yourself a wonderful night, and we'll talk to you then.
Confidence.
All right, folks, thank you. It was nice talking with you. We will see you again next weekend, Saturday, 6 o'clock. We'll talk to you.